So this is Baruch of the Tikkun Elevator Kollel, and we're going on our regular programming here today. And we're over here at the Shire Kabbanos, Rosh Hashinu at Tefilos, and we're making use of a terrific pirush on this, which is called the Tivik Kabbanos, and that's what we're reading right now on number Kaf Daled. I want to say that, that for those of you who are managed to listen to this, this is real heavy-duty Kabbalah. This is really Kabbalah that requires for the learner to know a lot of Kabbalah before he gets there. Now, some of you actually might. But here we come, and I beg you to stay with me because I know that this is important stuff. So the Kabbalah says, the Rav. This is the Rav in the black print, and the Pirush, of course, in the lighter print. The Rav says, Daki b'chol, during the weekday, Olo Rachel hanekeva behod. Now listen to this. The words are, where is Rachel? Rachel originally a dot below the Yisod, the Zeranpin. Now she's risen up for the Yichud that's going to take place, which is called Zuna Katanim. She's going to rise up and she's going to rest next to the Yehod of Zeranpin. Yaakov Yored the Menatzach, and then Yaakov, who is located at the chest of Zeranpin, will go down to the area of the right leg, which is called Netzach. B'sham is davgim b'yachad. In that position, on the lower extremity of Zeranpin, is where the Yichud takes place. B'zecha b'tefilas lachash. But this here we're talking about tefilas lachash. Now, I'm not saying that this is an easy idea, and I'm for people who have no background, but I'm learning. So it says lifnecha Yichud of Yaakov. Let's go back. Lifnecha Yichud. Yaakov omed b'tzad panim de Zeranpin. He is on the face side of Zeranpin, mechachaza lamata, from the chest going downwards. Rachel omedes ba'achrei of Zeranpin, and she's in the back of Zeranpin, mechachaza lamata, from the chest going downwards. Ve'echem yecholin la'asos yichud kasher Yaakov b'tzad panim ve'Rachel omede b'tzad ach. So notice that I didn't pronounce the whole word achor because some of my teachers were very strict that they didn't want to pronounce the name Achor, which is one of the reasons why Kabbalists don't hold their hands behind their back and pray, which you see very often in Ashkenazi synagogues, that people pray with their hands behind their back. Over here we said we're very careful about the back. So therefore what happens now is that Yaakov and Rachel go through a process where she is surgically removed from him. And once she is removed from being back to back with Zeranpin, she can now come around the front. And he's in the entire front of Zeranpin, that is, from the chest going downwards. And he is as broad as Zeranpin too. Ein makom gan the Rachel levo la'amod sham. There's no room for Rachel to come into that situation because Yaakov is taking a place up the front and the sides. So therefore Yaakov cholet b'makomo. So therefore Yaakov goes from his place. V'omer b'makom hanetzach shel Zeranpin, and goes down to the right leg of Zeranpin. Behind B'yamin Zeranpin shehu makomo, that is on the right side of Zeranpin, which is the place of Yaakov. V'rachel holechas b'makomo ma'achrei Zeranpin, and she goes from her place to the back of Zeranpin. V'omedes lefana b'makom hahod shel Zeranpin, and now she's at the hod. So now you have Yaakov at the netzach of Zeranpin, and and Rachel, who is Malchus, at the hod of Zeranpin, she's around the front. Shehu b'tzad has small to Zeranpin, that she was smaller, she'd be on the left side of Zeranpin. V'sham heim misyachadim. So in that position, where they're at the legs of Zeranpin, there's the Yichud. Now, it's important to understand that we're learning about changes in prayers, because every prayer is different. So during the prayer, the whispered part of the prayer during the weekday, that's the Yichud that takes place between Yaakov and Rachel. La'asos Yichud bein Yaakov and Rachel is to make a Yichud between Rachel and Yaakov and Rachel. B'makom hanetzach v'hod Zeranpin, in that place. Let's go to this bold print. V'disa hinei avodas Tefilah. So when we come to to our avoda Tefilah, which is Shmona Esrei, let's suppose that, or what we're davening, Bimei HaChol during the weekdays, Hu lahosif mochen the neshama l'zer anpen hanikra ruach. Now, let's just go back. Let me stop this for just a second. And let me come back to this drawing that I keep bringing in, this little printout. The concept of Neratchi, Nefesh, Ruach, Neshama, Chayin, Yechidah. Slide them all this way, and you would see that one of them is inside of the next. Now, in the case of Chayin, Yechidah, they're outside, because their lights are too strong to be able to enter into Zer Anpin. So we say that what actually comes into Zer Anpin is the Neshama. But within the Neshama is inside of the Ruach, and the Ruach is inside of Nefesh. So the Neshama is inside of all of them. But that's what we have during the weekday. And this is a really important idea. So now we look at the Rath, and what are these? These are the Oros, the pure energy of the Ein Sof, which has been diminished, and come down to a Neshama, a Ruach, and a Nefesh. Now let's go back to this little place right here. Where did I see that? We had that bold print. I know it's here. Here. V'hinei avodas Tefilah, that when we go to daven, b'mei ha'chol during the weekdays, hu lahosif mochen the neshama the zer anpin hanikra ruach. So normally zer anpin is a ruach which has a neshama attached to it. The ruach refers to zer anpin, and the nefesh, which is attached to the ruach. If I said this right, it's ruach and nefesh, called ran. That these two go together. One is male, one is female. This is zocher v'nok. But Pratas Seder Avodahu, and so specifically, the order of the prayers is like this. He says, who, there it is, Bechri Shema Meviim Lezer Anpen Mochim Bepartzaf Yisrael Sabat Tavuna. So just understand this, and these are the words. As we had said before, there are two partsufim that represent Abba ve'ima. They are called either Yisrael Savat Tavuna, which is the lower section of that parsuf, or they be called Abba ve'ima Eloyin. So these all refer to that. So we had said previously that the higher that the mochin come into Zer Anpin, the stronger they are. So in order to be able to bring mochin into Zer Anpin, and these are the mochin that are coming from Yasos, or designated from Yasos, your prayer has to go to the Meroma Ma'alos, in other words, to the ultimate high. That's the direction we send our prayers. And then the mochin start coming down. This is what the Zohar wants to say, or the Kabbalah always wants to say, that what starts at the bottom in the right direction will bring the bracha down. So here the bracha is now coming from the Most High, and it's coming into the Yisrael Savat Tavuna. And the idea is v'lahamshach misham ayidei b'zeh mochin the neshama the zer anpin, is to bring in mochim of neshama into zer anpin. Zer anpin, and also he says, and to the nuk, because it's zocher and nuk. In other words, it's the ruach and the nefesh. L'tzorach hayichud shalachem b'tefilas amidah, so that they should be able to. Now we're talking about the Kriya Shema, that when they come to the midah, that they be able to make a yichud. V'hamshachas hamochin the zer anpin. So why does zer anpin need these mochim? Kedei sheyuchol la'asos a yichud, so that he could make this yichud. V'az b'tefilas amida. So therefore now, when he comes to Shmona Esrei, na'asa nesira bein zer anpin v'rachel. So during that process of the Shmona Esrei, what happens, and understand this clearly, is that Rachel has grown to sufficiently to be able to come around to the front. In other words, she's no longer attached on the back to back with Zer Anpin, but she's now free of Zer Anpin, and this happens in the Shmona Esrei. And he says Nisira, and that's called the Nisira, Bein Zer Anpin and Rachel. So they're not together anymore, and now she comes around to the front. Shehoy devukim ach ba'ach, because originally they were clinging together back to back. But when the Nesira comes, Rachel Yechol Kavar Levo B'tzad Eponim Shazer Anpin, she's now can come. She has the ability to become around to the front because she wants a Yichud also. But Malcolm Ahod Mul Malcolm Anetzak Yaakov Omed Sham. So now she comes around to the front, opposite the Hod of Zer Anpin, and now she looks across over at Yaakov, who's at the Netzach. Now you come go all the way through to Tefilah, and you come to the blessing called Sim Shalom. Oz na'asach yichud shel Yaakov and Rachel. What happens then is a yichud takes place between Yaakov and Rachel. Shememena megira shefel the kol olomos, and from this yichud, which is taking place, and once again, the stopping place of the shefa from the Roma Ma'alos comes into Yisrael Sabbat Tavuna, and Yisrael Sabbat Tavuna then enters into the Zeranpin and delivers him this neshama. Ad la'olam asiyah, and so the shefa flows down all the way to where we are. Umashu tzrich and give it Tefilah b'kol yom. So the fact that we need to do this 3 times, Yisbar b'divrei harab b'hemshech, the Rab is going to explain as we go on. And this is Baruch Fleischman at the Tikkun Elevator Kola.